Welcome to the darkest corner. We have two tales to tell you.
The old house stood on a hill overlooking the town, its darkened windows like vacant eyes staring out at the world. Everyone said it was haunted, whispered stories of strange noises and flickering lights, but I never believed them. I was a skeptic, a man of science, and I didn't believe in ghosts. That was until I spent a night there. I was researching local folklore for a book I was writing, and the old house was a central part of many of the town's ghost stories. I decided to spend a night there, hoping to debunk the myths and find some interesting material for my book. I arrived late in the afternoon, the sun casting long shadows across the overgrown lawn. The house was even more dilapidated up close, with peeling paint and broken windows. A chill ran down my spine as I pushed open the creaking front door and stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Cobwebs hung like macabre decorations, and the silence was deafening. I explored the house, room after room, finding nothing but dust and cobwebs. As darkness fell, I settled into the living room, a large, drafty space with a fireplace that looked like it hadn't been used in decades. I lit a fire, the flames casting dancing shadows on the walls, and settled in for the night. The first few hours passed without incident. I read my book, occasionally glancing around at the shadows that flickered in the corners of the room. Then, as midnight approached, the noises started. First, it was a faint scratching sound, like something scurrying across the floorboards above. I held my breath, listening intently, but it soon faded away. Then came the whispers. At first, I thought it was the wind whistling through the cracks in the windows, but then I realized that the whispers were coming from inside the room, soft and indistinct, like voices just beyond the edge of hearing. I strained to understand what they were saying, but I couldn't make out any words. A coldness crept over me, despite the fire crackling in the hearth. I stood up, my heart pounding in my chest, and looked around the room. The shadows seemed to deepen, to take on shapes, and I could have sworn I saw movement in the corners of my eyes. The whispers grew louder, closer, and I felt a presence in the room with me. Something unseen, something malevolent. A wave of terror washed over me, and I wanted nothing more than to flee, to escape the house and never look back. But I was frozen in place, unable to move. The whispers were all around me now, swirling in my ears, and I could feel the cold breath of the unseen presence on my neck. Then a single word echoed through the room, clear and distinct. Leave. I didn't hesitate. I turned and ran, stumbling through the darkness, desperate to escape the house and its unseen horrors. I didn't stop running until I reached the town, the lights of the street lamps a welcome sight. I never went back to the old house. I finished my book, but I didn't include the story of my night there. Some things are better left untold. I still don't know what I experienced that night. Was it a ghost? A figment of my imagination? I don't know. But I do know that I will never forget the terror I felt in that old house, and I will never again dismiss the stories of the haunted. Some doors are better left unopened, some secrets better left buried, and some houses are just plain evil.
The thing in the vents. I never believed in ghosts, demons, or anything supernatural. That was until I moved into my new apartment, a cheap one-bedroom on the third floor of an old building downtown. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Or at least, I thought it was. The first night, I noticed something strange. As I lay in bed, drifting off to sleep, I heard a faint noise coming from the air vent above me. A soft, almost rhythmic scratching. Probably just rats, I told myself, rolling over. But as the nights passed, the sound got worse. It wasn't just scratching anymore. It was breathing. I tried to convince myself I was imagining things. The building was old, after all. The vents were probably just settling, or maybe the neighbor's AC was making weird noises. But one night, I made the mistake of looking. Lying in bed, staring at the vent, I saw movement. A shifting darkness just beyond the slats. My breath caught in my throat. Then, two pale fingers slowly curled around the edge of the metal grate. I froze. My body refused to move. The fingers were long, unnaturally thin, and they gripped the vent like they were testing it, seeing if it would give. Then something whispered, a dry, rasping voice that sent ice through my veins. "I see you." I bolted from the bed, slamming on the lights. The whisper stopped. The fingers were gone. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called maintenance, demanding they check the vents. They came, shining a flashlight inside. "Nothing's there," the guy said with a shrug. "No rats, no leaks, just dust." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But that night, as I lay in bed with the lights on, I heard it again. The scratching, the breathing. And then, the vent cover slowly began to slide open. I don't remember grabbing my keys. I don't remember running out of the apartment barefoot in the middle of the night. All I know is I never went back. The landlord called, angry that I'd left all my stuff behind. He said they found the vent open when they checked. Inside, there were deep scratch marks, too large for rats. And something else. Teeth. Tiny, human-looking teeth scattered at the bottom of the vent. I don't know what was in there. I don't want to know. But if you ever hear breathing from your vents at night, do yourself a favor. Don't look.